In today's lesson, we are going to have crates actually fall from the ground inside our application and bounce around like they should. So to start with, we're going to actually start with a brand new project today. And we'll place it on our desktop. So here is our 3 files. We have some image files, so I'm just going to drag those in so that you can see them. And it's our crate icon and our floor icon because we want the crate to actually hit the floor and bounce off. So lesson 6 is going to be what we're going to drag into Outlaw. And there's our images, and here is our main file. To start with, please make sure you have your standard comment at the top. Just going to copy and paste it so that you don't need to see me type it. And you will notice that we're having the status bar hide as normal. After you type each section of code, please make sure to save your code and then rerun it so that you can test to make sure that it's working properly. So you'll notice my status bar at the top actually has vanished. So that's good. Next step, what we're going to do is we need to actually get the crate and the floor showing up. So we create a local variable. We're going to start with the floor, and it's going to be assigned a display new image rec. You have to specify where it is going to show up. So we have it in a folder called images, and this is going to be my floor. And then you have to specify the dimensions. So my floor is actually 1024 by 144. You then need to state where the floor is going to show up on the screen, the X and the Y value. So my X value, what I want to do is actually center it, but I'm going to get the computer to figure out where that is for me. So there's a command called context center X, which will give me the X value that is the center of my display. And for the Y, I'm just going to place it at the bottom. So once again, save and test. Oh, it didn't move over to where I was supposed to have it. Sorry, this is content. There we go. Better. Okay, so you'll notice I have a little concrete floor with grass in front of it, and when my crate falls, it should bounce off that. I'm going to go through the exact same kind of logic for my crate. Obviously, I'm going to have to change my variable, the name of what the image is, the dimensions of the image, and where it's going to show up on the screen. So save that. You'll notice this is wrong because I didn't change these to crate. Let's try that again. There we go. So the crate shows up, and there's the floor. To get physics working, you actually need to add in the physics engine that comes with Corona. So to do that, you create a local variable. I'm going to call mine physics, and you require a library and state the library you want. And ours is called physics. Once you have the library, it'd be really good if you would start it up. So this creates our local variable called physics, and this starts up our physics engine. If you save it, you'll notice nothing has changed at this point because we have to add each of our items to the physics engine so that they can do what they're supposed to do. So the first one I'm going to add is the crate. Our variable physics is holding our physics engine, and we're going to add a body. The body we are going to add is called crate. We are going to make it a dynamic body, which means that it'll move, and then you can add parameters to it. 3 parameters we're going to add is how dense the item is, how much friction there is, and how much bounce it has. And these values you can change and see how your item will behave differently. So when you save that now and go back, you'll notice, I'm going to replay that for you, that the crate falls straight down. So it's good that the crate is doing what it's supposed to. The problem is the floor isn't doing what it's supposed to. So we have to create a physics body for the floor as well. So we're just going to take what we already have and add that in for our floor. Now, we don't want the floor to fall either, so we're going to make our floor static so it doesn't move. And because it's a static object, it doesn't matter about density because really it's infinitely dense. It's a floor, it doesn't move, and the floor doesn't have any bounce, so we can get rid of that too. So now when we save it, you'll notice that the crate bounces off of the ground. So that's good. What we're going to do next is we're going to add another row of crates along the top so that they interact with this crate and you can see things bouncing around a little more. If you remember from Scratch, we had the concept of a list or many objects grouped together. In Lua, the concept is something called a table. So we're going to create a table of crates. Notice it's spelled differently than crate, so it's a different variable. And we're going to use these curly braces. That's a definition that this item is actually a variable that is a table and holds several things. What we're going to do is we're going to create 5 crates and we're going to add them to the table. Instead of writing out the same code or similar code 5 times, we're going to use a loop. In Lua, the standard loop is called a for loop. So you'll notice for is a reserved word. You need a counter to keep track of how many times you've gone through the loop. You need a beginning and an ending number. Do is a reserved word and end. So if you notice, if I hover here, this is the whole loop grouped together. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the exact same kind of thing that we did for the crates. We're going to create a crate and add it to our table. We're going to position our crate and then we're going to add it to the physics engine. So the same thing that we did up here, we're going to do down here as well. So since it's similar, we're going to copy it, paste it in, don't forget to indent when you're inside your loop. And don't forget that we're actually talking about crates, which is a different variable than just crate. Now, we can't just add an item to the whole table. What you need to do is specify which item in the table you're talking about, and to do that you put it in square brackets, and you use the loop counter. So we're going to create a new image, and it's the exact same dimensions. This particular crate, its x-coordinate is going to be, and I'm just going to set it to 107, and then I'm going to add loop counter times 150. So it's going to start at 107 and add 150 times whatever loop counter happens to be. So the first time it's 1, the second time it'll be 2. So our crates are going to show up across the screen on our iPad. That's what that's going to do. And the Y value I'm going to just set to 106. Now we want not the crate, but a particular crate that's in our table. So I've got to change that and that. And we're just going to keep all the other stuff the same. So hopefully I haven't messed anything up. When we save this, you'll see there are several crates, and they bounce not only off of the floor, but they bounce off of each other now. So just show that again. And that's how you get physics working in Corona.